Whenever I scroll through TikTok, it feels like most of the ads I get is for shitty mobile games. So I figured I should try them out, so you don't have to. Here are my findings. Let's begin with the one that's just a joke at this point, Raid Shadow Legends. Starting out, Raid Shadow Legends actually looks kind of like the advertisements in terms of graphics. However, the gameplay itself, well, it also looks kind of just like the ads. It is just wait for the characters to do some attacks. Like there is basically no gameplay. You just click some buttons. The voice acting is nice. The music is nice. The graphics are good, but there's nothing here. Like there's no substance to the combat or the gameplay. It's just click some numbers, automatically take it out in the tutorial, choose a hero, and then just wait. It's basically not a game. You just wait for things to happen, and then you go to this town menu, and then you summon some guys for one of the many currencies in the game. It's just designed around looking pretty to attract players, and then trying to rope them into spending money on it. To be fair to the game, there is a lot of content in the game. It's just the content isn't fun. And I think that's one of the biggest issues with most games on this list. It's simply not fun. But yeah, Raid Shadow Legends is pretty much what you expect. Looks good, but isn't. Let's move on. A more recent pest is Last War. The ads are all over the place.
Huh? Wait, what are you playing? That looks like the fake game in all the ads.
It seems to be a game about simple math, and most fake influencers who prominent in these ads, well, they apparently never went to school. Let's see how it is. Now, as you can see, this is exactly like in the trailers. I've not edited this whatsoever. This is the first thing that happens when you first launch the game. And the thing is, it is what they show. And just what they show, it's not hard and it's not fun. And then later, you will get to the usual stuff, the manage your town by waiting for upgrades and spending money part. So at the end of the day, this game actually has quite a lot in common with Raid Shadow Legends. This game is plain bad. Simple as that. I rushed through some more levels just to see what unlocked into, and, well, nothing fun at all. But I guess at least they didn't lie. Next up, we have Mob Control, a game I've seen ads for numerous times, and just like the last game, the ads don't lie, but also the game is, well, not fun. You basically just slide around, hitting the maximum math, and end up with more numbers than the opposition. Simple as that. There is some sort of multiplayer component, which I highly doubt is actual multiplayer. You unlock for some village in the first part of the game to level up and unlock more pay-to-win things. In general, just a bad game. Next up is Top War, which from the ads I think was something completely different. What you see here is the actual game. I can't find the ads now, but they look nothing like the game. You basically just watch these troops fight out a little bit, and then you build some more troops and build some more buildings while waiting. It's a classic free-to-play bullshit. For some reason, there's also this highly sexualized woman caught, and you have to complete missions to unlock her locks or something, and also Boob Physics and Black Widow name, because I guess apparently they want Marvel to sue them. I don't know. All in all, just avoid. Next up, we have Age of Origin, which is apparently a zombie game, which is not what the name suggested. It plays basically like very short, easy levels of Vampire Survivors, but with slightly decent graphics. And as usual with any of these games, there is the upgrade your town and wait for upgrades and small number incremental increases. Same stuff as in every other game like this on this list so far, basically. And it's not really enjoyable. The gameplay loop itself is basically like, yeah, it's a decent take on Vampire Survivors, except it's very fast levels and not pixelated graphics. But honestly, I would just rather play Vampire Survivors because that's actually fun. This is just not hard. It's not fun. I can see the appeal, but really just get Vampire Survivors. And of course, don't forget this game also has a cash shop, as any other free-to-play game like this. Also one to avoid, I would argue. Next up, we have Evony, which is, well, I've seen ads for this for quite a while. It's basically everything that's been in the past games in this list put in one game. Boring gameplay, and the ads, well, to be honest, the ads show off the actual game, but just as usual, what the game is just not fun. Like, what? There are way better games out there. Just don't play this. Please do yourself a favor. Next up, we have Alien Invasion. And honestly, this is pretty much like the ads. And as expected, there's not much to it. Just move around, gobble up some people, and use, like, go back and forth between the people you can find and the and a base where to drop off the food. You can only carry so much. Buy some upgrades, rinse and repeat. That's all there is to it. It's not fun. Next up, we're taking a look at Wild Survival, and it's basically a passive upgrade game. You just stand there and watch the enemies come to you, hit the upgrades when you can afford them, and try to survive for as long as you can. That's all there is to it. I've played a few games like this in the past. They're fun for a good 5 minutes or so, and then after a while, find a strategy that works, and then you don't really enjoy it that much anymore. Eventually, I mean, after a certain number of runs, you have unlocked more upgrades, so you can last longer. Once you've played one of these games, you've played them all. So, if you like the graphics and haven't played one of these before, sure, why not give it a go? But otherwise, there are others out there that's just like this. If you play one, you play them all, just move on. Now, this next game is Doodle Magic, and it actually has a little bit of credibility. The graphics are pretty cute. Like, I like the art style in theory, but in reality, it's very hard to see what's going on. The gameplay is basically just pick the upgrades and let your wizard shoot at these guys coming towards you, but there are plenty of options to choose from. I had kind of fun with this one. Except the fact that you can barely see what's going on because the white and gray on white isn't that great of a combination in terms of readability. So there is some accessibility options here that they should really look into. And down the line, the game probably has some pay-to-win mechanics and loot boxes and things like that. But for the most part, I'm not against this one. This game is called Epic War, and I'm sure you've seen these ads at some point before. The game itself is actually two games at once. It's this thing where you try to, like, throw your stuff in some ocean that gives you unlockables to use in another gameplay segment that we'll come to later. So you do a couple of these levels, you get some unlockables that you don't really know what they're for, so you think this is the game, and then all of a sudden, it's not. All of a sudden, it's a idle, like, here's some might and magic, but not really, you don't actually do anything. Just deploy your troops and wait. And then you go back to these weird puzzle things again to unlock more stuff. I don't know what the devs thought here. It's like, did they have two games in mind they wanted to do and couldn't make up their mind which one they wanted to make? Or, like, what's the deal? Either way, there are better games out there. I guess you could have fun with this a couple of minutes, but I would just move on. I gotta say, Warhammer Tacticus is actually not a bad game. It's a bit of a lengthy tutorial where it's basically telling you exactly what to do, and part of it just screams like these victory screens. They just scream free-to-play bullshit, but at the same time, the gameplay itself is actually pretty good. I like the idea of it, the whole strategic thing with the positioning of your troops. I enjoy this. I actually haven't uninstalled it yet. I'm waiting to have some time to spend on it to see if it remains good. But what's here so far in my 5 or 10 minutes I played the game, I think this has potential. It remains to be seen how it's progressing and how they ruin it, which I hope they don't. But yeah, this is one that I can see people having fun with. I can see myself having fun with. I'm not really that into Warhammer 40k in general, but yeah, this is not a bad game so far. So yeah, one that might be worth checking out actually, despite the ads. This next game is called Rush Royale, and it's basically like a dual tower defense thing where you combine, like, think tower defense combined with, yeah, let's say Candy Crush. So you like combine 3 into 1 and let that grow into something bigger. And then it's a tower defense game, but you're dueling of someone else and try to like survive better than they do. I don't know really what the idea here was. Like, I think again it's one of these where they wanted to do two things that seemed popular and see if they could merge that into something that they could earn money with. Not entirely bad, but it's not that great. If you want like tower defense games, there are plenty of amazing ones out there for mobile and on desktop and on consoles. Just play one of those. And if you want match colors or match 3 things, there's plenty of good games there as well. I don't really see the appeal of this one. The combination here doesn't really do that much for the game. So yeah, just play either of the two genres separately instead of this, I would argue to say. And but yeah, if you want to give it a go, I mean, it's not that obnoxious, so have fun, I guess. I actually ended up playing Top Heroes for quite a lot longer than I thought I would. The game is actually pretty fun. You go through these sort of open world levels by moving around and letting your troops defeat the enemies, and then you upgrade them over time, get more troops. You can mix and match the style of units you have, and then you grab crafting materials in the way. The game is actually pretty fun. It's not a great game, not by any means necessary. Like, it's not a game that I think you will have fun with for more than a few hours. But as a idle, sit back on the couch while watching TV and play, it's not too bad. There are very better games out there for sure, but this is not one that you necessarily should avoid. You could have fun with this. Hordes vs. Heroes is another one of these Vampire Survivors lights. It's not bad, but yeah, again, just play Vampire Survivors, it's so much better. It feels sluggish and slow, but yeah, the gameplay loop is tried and true. Vampire Survivors is fun, this is not that different. The upgrades aren't that different from each other either, like it's... Yeah, just play Vampire Survivors, please. If you've seen the ads of drawing around saving these dogs from bees before, you probably wondered why the game was called Titan Wars. Well, so did I. The game is not hard at all. I don't know what the TikTokers and the fake admin influencers are doing. It's not difficult. You basically do these puzzles, and then you get these weird fairy bee things, and then it's like a idle JRPG where you don't actually do anything, and then you just rinse and repeat. It's not fun. It's not difficult. It's not fun. It's just, just get rid of this. Please don't make more ads for this. I hate them. Next up, we have Sea of Conquest. It's a pirate RPG with some Fallout Shelter elements and some JRPG elements. It's not actually that bad. There's also some sort of MMO aspect to it all. I had a bit of fun with it. The ship combat is a bit basic, but not bad. One of the better games on this list for sure. It's not without its, in-game currencies and grinding and, hey, you want to pay for an upgrade? But it's also not a bad game. Far from it. There are way worse on this list. It's actually one of the best ones on the list. Maybe that's not saying that much, but yeah, I think you can have fun with this for quite a lot of time. So yeah, there's that. Next up, we have Tower War. Now, this game is actually pretty much as advertised, and I've played similar games in the past. I can't remember their names on them from the top of my head, but there are some really good ones out there. It's sort of like a puzzle strategy game. I like this style of game, I like this genre, but I think this is probably one of the weakest ones I've played of it. It's not a bad game per se, but there are way better ones like this out there if you want to have some fun with this. Which I think you should. I think the genre itself and the style of gameplay is fun. I just think this is not it. So, what have I learned from doing this project? Well, most games are, as advertised, bad. Some games are not as advertised and are even worse. Some games are, well, not that great in the first place, and even if they are being advertised as good, they aren't. Most games are like that. There are a few golden ones in there, as in that they're not shit. There are a few games in the list that's actually pretty decent. That said, if you want to play good games on your phone, there are way better ones out there than the ones shown in this video. The ones you see ads for, they pay a lot for those ads, and they do so to get you to spend money buying their games, spending money in their games, and wasting your time with it. I would say, if you want to have some good mobile games, get our Apple Arcade or Google Play Pass and for a year and just play everything you can find on there that looks fun. Try everything. Maybe try get into cloud gaming, or maybe just play some good old classic games on mobile that actually are good, that you know are good. There are great ones out there. There's also a lot of crap. And don't do what I do and download all of them, because you're not going to have fun. It's just going to be a waste of space. You're going to sell your ad data to who knows who. And yeah, it's been a fun project to do for video, but I would never do this for anything else. Just swipe past the ads. That's my recommendation. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.